Hi, this is GunNut226 here with a video review of this folding knife. The brand is, I believe it's kind of new. It says U.S. Army, and then here we have U.S. Army symbol, an engraving. Here's the model number, Army 1CS. So, first off, let me tell you about why I bought this knife. I bought this knife because I thought it looked pretty interesting. It has this digital camo finish, and it's like a rubberized grip. It feels pretty grippy. So that's initially drew my interest. Was I didn't see a lot of these in the store that have the digital camo on them, and it really caught my eye, and I was like, wow, that's very interesting. So I went over and started playing with it, and I really liked it. So I picked it up, and I've been carrying it around for a while. So I'm going to tell you guys about it, at least my experience. So I guess I've been using it in my EDC here for a while. I don't exactly know how long. Various knives get rotated through my EDC because that's my primary testing ground. First off is the blade steel. I couldn't really find a lot of information on this except it's a 440 stainless, and it is protected with some kind of coating. Not sure what kind of coating's on there, but it seems to hold up fairly well. You can see the blade shape, if I can get the camera to focus here. You can see where I've attempted at least to put a little bit more of an edge on it. It came pretty sharp, but you can see where the serrations start. There's a little bit of a dip. So I kind of maybe messed up the edge a little bit. I need to try to do that a little better, have somebody do it for me that knows actually how to sharpen knives, or I need to learn better myself. But it came pretty sharp out of the box. After some use, it does get dull. Therefore, I did try to put a little bit of an edge back on it. The serrations, you can see here. I'm going to take a closer look at the serrations. It has a one-side grind. Maybe not totally the best, but they're not bad. I guess some serrations are like, they're difficult for me. Let's just say they're difficult for me to sharpen. But other than that, it performed very well. I didn't have any problems with any chipping out of the blade. I don't see any rust. The rust resistance seems pretty good. So either it's a better stainless, like a 440C, or it's like a lesser stainless, like a 440A or something like that. It might have a good heat treatment on it, or this coating is just helping it resist the rust from the environment. But overall, it's a nice blade, semi-serrated. It's got a nice blade shape. I really digged it in the store. So it's primarily why I got it. Now let's take a look at about how long it is. The blade itself is right about 3 inches. It's slightly over, actually. Maybe like 3 1/8 or so. So not bad for a blade length. But it's not too short, not too long. It works well for me. So let's take a look at the deployment. There are a few different ways to deploy this knife. You got the ambidextrous thumb stud here on top, and you also have a flipper on the back. I really like this flipper. It's kind of nice. It's rather large. Gives you a large lever arm, so you don't have to exert a whole lot of force, but you still need a little bit of wrist action to get a snap open. So either way, the thumb stud or the flipper both work well. You can see here they cut a nice relief out for the thumb stud, so your thumb can slide right in and it can grab your thumb rather well, and you can start the deployment rather easily. Actually, from either side. This side's a little bit more tricky because it's got the pocket clip on there, so it does take a little more effort. But I usually carry this knife in my right pocket. It's not my preferred carry, but I'll get to that in a minute. But how fast it deploys, it's pretty good deployment once you get it started. Take a look in here. Can see that pretty much. You don't even need a flashlight, really. You can see the bushings in there. They're nylon bushings, basically. So I guess it they used some brass bushings or something along those lines. Phosphor bronze. It would deploy a little bit better. But overall, I'm very happy with it. Now the lockup strength, I haven't adjusted this pivot point on all, but it is fully adjustable. You can see it takes a star on either side to adjust the pivot point. But up and down, no problem. Side to side, yeah, there may be a slight little bit of play side to side, but I can live with that. It doesn't really bother me. I'd rather not have to play with the pivot if at all possible. So I just leave it the way it is from the factory. Let's take a look at the weight. Here's a scale. Put this guy on the weigh. And we've got 5.26 ounces or so. Yeah, I knew it was a little heavy. I actually weighed it before. Came out pretty much the same. I just thought I'd do it on camera. But anyway, it is a little bit chunky in the pocket. You can see it is a little bit thicker knife than some of the others. It does weigh 5.2 ounces or so, and it is rather heavy. Weight is not really an issue with me sometimes. Sometimes it is. If weight was an issue, I would definitely shed this knife for something a little lighter. Maybe like a Spyderco or something else, K-bar. Have a couple other reviews coming up that you can look at in a little bit. But overall, the weight is somewhat manageable. Might be a little bit heavy. Here we go with the how does the blade fit into your hand. You can see it's really got some nice finger grooves here. It's got one up here. You got some serrations on the liner lock, as well as some serrations on the blade itself. So it fits my hand okay. My hand is a little bit bigger, so you can see my finger. Pinky finger is really riding out of this where it's supposed to be because my hands are rather large. So if I had to use this under a really high pressure, it might be uncomfortable for me to use. With just the 3 fingers, I could probably get away with it. Still have a pretty good grip on it, and just kind of leave this one a little bit looser. But overall, if you have smaller hands, this would actually feel very well in your hands. And this grip material that it's on here, it's like a rubberized grip. It holds up pretty well. You can see here, have had some issues with it coming off. So a little bit of flaking coming off. Not a real big issue, but overall it's held up, I think, pretty well with the amount of abuse that I've put it through for the price point that it's at. Let me tell you that. But overall, the jimping up here is pretty functional. It really grips into your thumb. You can see it's squared off really well. They're sharp. They could be maybe spaced a little bit further apart, but other than that, they really lock your thumb in, let me tell you. Your thumb is not really going anywhere unless you're going to put a high amount of pressure or stress on it. Now, the secondary purpose of the flipper actually comes down here, and it acts as a finger guard. And let me tell you right now, that is a really nice option. If you needed to deploy this maybe in a tactical situation, this extra, when you thrust, this extra little bit, your finger to rest on, and your thumb digging in here is really going to help you out, keeping a hold of the knife. not letting it slip back into your hand and injuring yourself potentially. So overall, that's a really good design. One thing that I'd like to mention here is it is a flow-through pillar design. I really do like that. I really prefer that on most of my knives. They're easier to clean, easier to maintain. If you need to take it apart, it gets exposed to salt water. A little bit easier to take apart and put back together. You can see here that they opted for, now these liners are probably stainless, and that probably contributes to some of the weight that we're seeing. And if we look in there, they're not really hollowed out. They're not lightweighted in there at all. Alright, sorry about that. My battery died. I didn't really have an indication it was going to die. So anyway, I got a new battery now. We'll continue on. I believe where I was talking about the liner. And the liner is probably a stainless steel of some sort, A or C. May or may not be heat treated. But it's not lightweighted, and that's for sure. That's where some of the weight's coming from, because it's got a rather large frame on it. So that's a contributing factor to the weight, certainly. It does have a nice little pommel here. You might be able to use it for striking attack, potentially. It is nice and solid. So I don't think that would be a problem. You can easily use that as a weapon. Even if you didn't get the knife deployed, you can use that as a striking weapon, if need be. So here we want to talk about the clip. The clip is slightly disappointing. It is black, so that is a plus. It does say, you can see here, it has U.S. Army pretty much through it. I don't think it really affects how strong the clip is per se, but it's not, I wouldn't say super strong, because you can do this. Some of the stronger clips, you can't even do that. It does have a nice shape. Don't have a problem getting it into my pocket. You can see here it's got a little flare at the end. So that's really nice. I was a little bit worried about that at first. Looks like it rides kind of high, about catching on something and bending it, but it really hasn't been a problem. Although I haven't really carried this for ultra long time. It's been 3-4 weeks, and I'm really happy with it. The other thing that I'm not really happy with about the pocket clip is it's not relocatable. If you're a righty, it's going to be riding in your pocket, tip down carry. Not really my preferred method. And if you're a lefty, it's going to ride in your left pocket. And this is even a worse position for me, to pull it out of your pocket and deploy it. At least this way, I've had a lot of experience deploying knives in this fashion. So, especially with the flipper, it helps out a lot. You don't have to reposition the knife too much when you pull it out of your pocket. You just pull it out, and it floats into your hand pretty nice. You just flip it open. So it comes out very strong, locks up nice. We didn't really talk about it. So it is a liner lock. You can see here it is riding over towards the end of the blade already. Don't know if that's really going to be an issue. In the past, I've seen some knives where they can get stuck between the knife and the liner. It could be like a pivot point issue. As this knife gets more wear over time, it might be a problem. But at least initially, it's not a problem for me. Overall, it's been a very durable knife. I'm very pleased with it. And it's a very high value. You can probably guess by now, I did acquire this knife at Big 5 Sporting Goods. It is a Big 5 special, like many of the other knives I review that are somewhat a good value, some aren't. It was $11.99 on sale. Now, if you didn't buy it on sale, I don't know anybody that would buy it at normal price, which is $49.99, because that's just not, I wouldn't pay that kind of money for this knife. It's real nice. No problems with it. Steel might be able to be improved upon at some point, but for that price point, can't really beat it. So if you see these in Big 5, I have another variation of this. I was debating whether to put it in this review or a separate review. However, there are enough differences between the two that I think it warranted a separate review. So that review will be coming in a little bit here. Anyway, if you have any questions, concerns, if you find my information is not accurate, please shoot me a PM or comment below. I appreciate all my viewers out there. Come up on the 1,000 subscriber mark. As soon as I hit that mark, I'm going to be having a 1,000 sub contest, and I'm going to have some pretty decent prizes, I think. And so just keep a watch out for that. Well, anyway, thanks for watching the video, and please subscribe.